Hey there, welcome to What Dogs Really Want, a podcast where we challenge outdated myths, discuss the modern day challenges our dogs face, and explore what they truly need to thrive. We're your hosts. There's Maren,
Hello.
Alana,
Hello.
and me. I'm Stephanie. And each week we're going to delve into topics about dogs through the lenses of ethology, enrichment, and empathy. Our podcast was created to share our observations, express our feelings, and discuss how we can best support the dogs we love. We aim to view life from a dog's perspective and consider how we can adjust our behavior to provide them with the best possible lives. We certainly do not wish to offend anyone. So, whether you're a dog pro or just in love with your dog, we think you're in the right place.
And this week is our final week, finally, of our breed group series that we've been doing. We are going to be covering our last two breed groups, which are natural dogs and guardian dogs, which are two of the big ones. So yeah, I'm going to start off this week talking about natural dogs. So, without further ado, natural dogs are the breeds that have gone through less selective breeding by humans than a lot of the other dog breeds. They are some of like the genetically oldest dog breeds that we have. And this leads to them being much closer in their instincts, behaviors, and even their looks to their wolf ancestors. If you look at any natural dog, I think you'll see that they are much more wolf-like than, say, your gun dog. So the breeds that fall under this group are the Akita, the Alaskan Malamute, the American Eskimo dog, Basenji, Cannon dog, Carolina dog, shout out Ruby, Chow Chow, Dingo, Eurazer, Finnish Spitz, German Spitz, Japanese Spitz, Karelian Bear Dog, a Kishund, a Leica Elkhound, a New Guinea Singing Dog, which I looked this up
Oh.
because I've heard of them, but I don't know much about them. And basically, they're called a singing dog because they have that same kind of vocal cord thing that Basenjis have, where instead of barking, they just kind of yodel, which is cool.
Ooh.
And New Guinea Singing Dogs, I don't go. I'm not going too much into them in this episode, but they're actually really interesting because I think for a while they were thought to be like their own thing, like not really a part of any other breed group because they're so unique. And they kind of remind me of just like a world dog, like a street dog. They're pretty cool. So we
Yeah, I've heard of
also
them.
have, huh?
I said I've heard of them. Yeah, I researched them a long time ago because they are really unique and cool.
Yeah, they're
Anyway,
really interesting.
neat.
We can do a whole episode on singing dogs.
We could.
Anyway, we have Norwegian Elkhound, Samoyed, Shar-Pei, Shiba Inu, Siberian Husky, and then obviously mixes of any of the above breeds or any of these breeds mixed with another breed. So those are our natural dogs. So characteristics, they are very self-reliant and independent, which can lead to issues, obviously, when it comes to living with these dogs and trying to subject them to any sort of training or obedience. I think probably the biggest example that everyone can know is like a husky. Like if you see a husky, they're very sort of defiant. Like they'll do what they want to do and they're not going to listen and they're not really going to. I feel like a lot of natural dogs, even if you do try to train them and like push them into obedience, it's kind of that thing where they just don't care. Like they're very hard headed. Like
Hmm.
it's just their way,
Yeah.
which is cool, but also can be a struggle when living with them. Also, due to their instinctual nature, they often have a stronger prey drive, which is just something to be aware of because obviously, if they're more wolf like, they're going to have that natural predatory streak rather than your other like pet dogs. Let's see. So, I'm going to get into Kim Brophy's little sheet about natural dogs, about why you'll love them, why you might find them difficult. And then after that, I'm just going to get into some fun facts because I found some fun facts about Huskies and Shar-Peis specifically, but I'm sure I could have found a lot of fun facts about all of the natural dogs because they're all so interesting and so unique. But we won't we won't we won't take up the whole episode with that. So you will fall in love with your natural dog because she is a free spirit. You will revere her intuitive, instinctual, unchained, wild nature. She is independent. She is not clingy, demanding, obsessive, or needy. And she is logical. She has more common sense than many people you know. Probably that probably rings true, especially in today's day and age. But moving on, you
We don't wish to offend anybody.
we don't wish to offend anybody. Just
Sometimes it happens though.
I'm just being factual. I'm
Just
just
throwing
reading
that
off the
out there.
sheet.
Yeah, she's just reading the facts, people.
You might find a natural dog hard to live with because she's suspicious. She has a strong sense of self preservation, is discerning and cautious. So, yeah, since they are so kind of self preserving and just instinctual and kind of more like wild dogs, like often they may be more suspicious about strangers and stuff because they haven't been bred to be super social and friendly and love everybody. They are instinctual. Her wilder impulses can range from inconvenient for you to quite serious, such as the prey drive or anything like that. And self preserving. She can be difficult to train, confine, and handle as a pet, kind of like I mentioned earlier. Especially, I think everyone knows that Huskies are big, like escape artists. So definitely hard to confine because they want to go where they want to go and they're going to go. Even if they have to chew through a door, they're going to go. So that can be difficult when trying to introduce that to a home environment.
Yeah.
You're like the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's your
Through
husky.
walls.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm out of here.
Finally, you might find yourself seeking professional help for predatory behavior toward other animals, especially smaller ones, like we keep saying, not coming when called, wandering and running away, difficulty when she's confined to crates, rooms, yards, intolerance of being handled and restrained at home, at the vet, at the groomers, wariness and defensiveness towards strangers, destructive behavior in indoor environments, and difficulty following directions or responding to training. It's basically you have a wild animal living in your home, which is sort of the case for any dog, but I think specifically natural dogs because they are so much closer genetically to wolves. Like
Hmm.
you can't expect them to come pre-programmed to be a family dog. Like they can be a lovely family dog. They can fit in great to your home, but they're just genetically predisposed to being more like a wild animal. Like I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, Huskies look like wolves
Huskies
too.
look
I
like
mean,
wolves. Yeah, huskies, like Akitas, Malamutes, like all of them, like they look like wolves. And like,
yeah.
and like if they
I
look like
know.
something, like we keep saying, if they look like something, they're going to have
Hmm.
those behaviors. Like
Yeah.
whether it's like, they look like a border collie, they look like a Labrador, they look like a wolf, they're going to have more wolf-like behaviors, typically. So,
Yeah, and if they don't look like wolves, the other ones that you named on the list and the few that I've known personally, they tend to look more like street dogs. They're
yes,
not
yeah.
Mm.
manipulated and genetically altered and overbred. It's
Yeah,
really kind
like
of
your singing
interesting
dog,
to
your
follow.
Carolina dog, your Basenji,
Yeah,
like yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
they don't
interesting.
look like these perfectly like purebred whatevers. They do look more wild. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I came across some fun facts, of course, about huskies. First of all, huskies were first bred by the Chukchi people about 3,000 years ago. And they were bred to pull sleds. Obviously, everyone knows that because they're strong and they are really good at withstanding harsh weather conditions. Everything about the way that these dogs are designed makes them perfect for being in this position, which is why I get so discouraged when I see a husky walking around Arizona in the summer heat. Because, a pretty common but interesting fact is huskies double coat. They have what's called a double coat, which is basically two layers of fur that they have. The under layer is shorter and it is made to retain heat to the body. And then the outer layer is longer and it is waterproof to help repel snow when they're pulling sleds. They also, let's see, they also have some other characteristics that just make them perfectly equipped to deal with these conditions, such as their eyes. Their eyes are almond shaped, which makes it a lot easier for them to squint and for the snow to not get in their eyes or the harsh glare of the sun bouncing off the snow. And then also their tails. Their tails are very long and very fluffy. And so they can wrap their tails around their face to keep them warm and to keep heat in, which I think is
That's
super cool.
so cute.
I know. So like everything about these dogs is like made them equipped to be in the snow. And like
Yeah.
I feel
Not
like
the
you
Not
always
desert.
here.
not in Arizona, not in
Very
Phoenix,
unfortunate.
Arizona.
California. That's the popular breed in San Diego right now. Huskies are everywhere. It's
They're not beach
crazy.
dogs. They're
They're
snow
not
dogs.
beach.
Everything about them is designed for the snow.
I know.
Yeah.
Hear me, people.
Like I feel like it's
Yeah,
borderline cruelty to have a purebred husky in a hot climate like that.
It's
And
really
then
hot
I
here.
feel like you always see those videos of like people are like, oh, like my husky from California finally sees snow for the first time. And the husky is just so happy. And I'm like,
yeah,
man, like that tells you everything you need to know. Like they just want to lay out in the
yeah,
snow. Like they'll be out in the snow all night if you let them. Like this is what they were literally, everything about them is made for this.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's
It's like
crazy.
having a polar bear
Yeah, basically.
in your house.
It's crazy. But just another quick little fun fact about huskies is that the Chukchi people actually had a belief that two huskies guarded the gates to heaven. And anybody that tried to get into heaven that had been cruel to dogs in their lifetime, the huskies would deny from getting into heaven, which I thought was
Ooh, I
really
love
cool.
that.
And I like that theory a lot. So,
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, I just
That's
thought
really
that was
cool.
cool. And then another interesting dog within the natural dog group is the Shar Pei, which I learned the plural of Shar Pei is Shar Pei. It's like a moose. Shar Pei. It's not Shar
I saw a
Peis.
Poop.
Sharpei. I saw
It's
two
Shar Pei.
Sharpei.
So Shar Pei are known for their wrinkly skin, of course. And their wrinkly skin is actually advantageous to them. At least it was when they were first designed. It's used as sort of like an armor for them because they were used as kind of like guard dogs for royal families and royal houses. And if they were, doing their guard dog duties and were to be attacked or bitten by an animal or another dog, that dog would grab onto their loose skin and their internal organs would stay perfectly protected because they have all this loose skin to grab onto. It's not actually damaging anything vital, which I thought was actually really interesting because, of course, like everything about a dog has a purpose, I feel like, and you don't really think about it until you look it up. And that's like, it makes sense. It's very cool.
Form
Um,
follows function. It's
yeah,
like
form follows function. Exactly. So
really,
their
yeah.
their their wrinkly skin is their battle armor. And then
That's
also, the Shar-Pei are known for their iconic black tongues. So Shar-Pei come from like ancient China, and the ancient Chinese people believed that when Shar-Peis barked, their black tongues would ward off evil spirits when they barked, which is
Ooh,
pretty cool.
that's cool.
there's some
I
probably
like
very
finding out
cool
little
art.
like folklore about animals. I think it's so interesting, like what people believed about like these random things about the dogs. I just think it's cool.
That's
Mhm.
really cool. We need more Shar-Peis barking out in the world.
I know.
Yeah.
And in I believe it was the 1960s and the 1970s, Shar-Pei were considered to be the rarest dog in the world. And they actually, I believe, were like almost like they were like close to being endangered because of like restrictions and regulations and stuff that were preventing them from being bred. I didn't go into this too much, so don't quote me on it. But in the 60s and 70s, they were considered to be the rarest dog in the world because they were so
Oh.
sparse. So we do need more.
Weird.
I think they're fine now, though.
They feel
They're
really
doing fine.
gross though. No offense, Shar-Peis, but your skin is ugh.
It's
It's
so
the
that
only thing in
their
the
organs
world
are
I'm allergic
protected,
to.
Elena.
I know, I know. I love that for them, but like,
And
oh.
Sharpays, I believe the name Sharpay. I'm sorry, I just said Sharpays. That's wrong. Sharpay. I believe the name Sharpay comes from the words sand skin or something like that because of the color of their wrinkly skin because they're typically like a tan
Oh.
color, sand skin, Sharpay, I believe.
Mine feels like
Interesting.
sand.
Maybe it's the texture as well then.
It's a texture thing.
Yes, it is just a texture thing. Don't worry about
It's a
it.
texture.
Anyway, so yeah, like we were kind of talking before the podcast, like the dogs in the natural dog breed group are all so unique from each other, which is so interesting. Like most of the breed groups are kind of lumped together because they're all similar. They were bred for a similar thing, whereas the natural dogs I feel like are almost kind of like the leftovers. Like they're not as selectively bred as all the other dogs. So they're in this group because they are so unique. Um, but also they are similar in the ways that they have these instincts and these natural behaviors and these needs. So, enrichment wise, I think they can all benefit from a lot of free choice and a lot of outlets to act on those natural instincts and behaviors, such as digging, scent work, foraging, and just opportunities and games that let these dogs have choice and feel like that wolf ancestry is still coursing through their veins because it is. And so just having those opportunities to act like it, I think is really beneficial for these guys. Um, yeah.
That makes
I
sense.
would say outside time too.
Yeah,
A lot of
exactly.
outside time just
Yeah, that
doing
goes
their
along
thing.
with the digging and sniffing and everything. Cause yeah, well, the one
Yeah.
we have a Carolina dog who comes to our school and she just wants to be outside all day in the sandbox, running around
Yeah.
digging.
Sunbathing. Yeah. She's cool. She's probably the most I've ever worked with a natural dog, and I just adore her. And she was lucky to get into the best possible home. They
Yeah.
had never had a dog like her before. Kind of freaked out by her behavior. They adopted her from a rescue. She had been bounced around from 3 homes before they met her, and she was still pretty young. And they got her home, and they live in a high condo, glass windows everywhere. And all she wanted to do was like hide in the darkest bedroom in the corner, and that really freaked him out. But you understand, like if you based on what you said and what you can learn about these guys, they need to have that choice. It has to be on their dime. Like that must have been such a freaky environment for her. I'm
Yeah.
up in this box a mile high in the sky. I can
With these
see
people
everything.
she doesn't know yet. She doesn't feel comfortable with them yet because they just adopted her.
Yeah, and she had been in the shelter for a while, and that had to have been a terrifying experience for her, the confinement, the noise, no choice. But they just let her unfurl. My first appointment with them, I said, just let her do what she wants. She wasn't being aggressive, she wasn't being destructive, nothing, just fearful. And they just completely did that. Just let her have choice, and she could sleep in there if she wanted to be in there. And they knew she liked to forage through this one thing. So now they create these crazy elaborate foraging games for her, and piles of boxes and pizza boxes and everything. And that's like her daily thing. They are so good about getting her out in different environments and letting her sniff. She calls the shots. They'll be out there for 2 hours watching her walk around. And if she wants to look at birds, cool. If she wants to dig a pit in the sand, they let her. And then they just sit there and let her sit in the sand as long as she wants to.
Like
I mean, she's such a
like
lucky girl.
that one day she missed class because they just took her to the park and they were just having so much fun with her at the park. They were like, "Oh, completely forgot there was school today."
Yeah, and it's the
Love that.
most lovely, lovely thing. Like she's so lucky because you could see how some people would find her obstinate. She doesn't always come when she's
She's not
called, and
super
it's
cuddly or anything like that.
not super cuddly. And if you try to reach for her just to put on her leash or something so
She's
normal
like,
and
"Ooh."
natural that we would do, she kind of like backs up for a second, never shows her teeth or anything. She's like, no thanks. And
Yeah, she
it's
is very
cool.
like demure.
She's cool. And the dads crack me
No.
up because they'll bring her to school and then he's like, she's having one of her days. She didn't want to get up. And I love that they just let her have that. So it's really
Something
lovely, but go
something
ahead.
else that I think is super interesting about her, and I think natural dogs in general, is she really, really benefits from kind of dog on dog learning. Like I
Hmm.
remember when they first got her because they have like an elevator in their building to get down to the ground floor to take her outside for walks and stuff. And she was really nervous about the elevator. But then she saw like some other dog in her building get on the elevator. And so she was like, oh, okay. And I feel like it was the same thing when she kind of came to school. And even Clover, who's just part husky, but I see it in Clover a lot too, is she really
Hmm.
benefits from having kind of like a dog mentor to show her that it's okay because that is more natural for them to learn from their peers and another dog
Hmm.
than learn from their human social members or these people that they don't know, which I think is super interesting and super cool too. I really like dogs like that. Like it was really
Hmm.
sweet when we first brought Clover home and she's what, like 20% husky or something like that. But she was so nervous. But then as soon as she met Jinx, our border collie, who's like a pretty confident girl. She's really good with puppies, but like she's like she knows the ropes. And as soon as Clover kind of just like watched her a little bit, she completely came out of her shell and she was like, oh, okay, like it's fine. Like this dog is like totally fine. Like I'm fine. And I think that's really cool. Miss Pickles was like
I
that a
like
bit
that.
as well. I wonder if Miss Pickles had a bit
Hmm.
of natural dog in her.
Probably. Yeah, and they
And
tend to
even
really be good with the other dogs too. We love to
yeah.
have them as far as
Yeah.
meeting incoming students because they're good reads of dog body language. And for the most part,
Means.
they're willing to be friendly, but also if you don't want to, that's okay. I'm not going to make you do anything. They're
Yeah.
just really interesting dogs. They're
Yeah,
really
they're
I was
cool.
cool.
just gonna say that about Ruby. Yeah, she does the same thing. She'll
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
meet every new dog that comes in and is like, "Hi, how are you?" And then if they don't like it, she's like, "Okay," and walks
Yeah.
away.
Yeah,
It's cool.
just
Yeah,
go find another friend.
yeah, like it makes sense why they're so dog social, but it's always like cool to see, especially in comparison to when we're seeing like labs and doodles every day who like couldn't care less about the dog other there, but they want to be like in your lap and everything. And then you have a dog like Ruby who I've known Ruby for however long I've known Ruby now, and she still will only let me pet her sometimes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's like so chill with all the other dogs, which I think is so cool and I respect it. Like, fair enough.
They're humbling, but in a great
Yeah.
way. You know, they
And
just
then when she
remind you
does
like
come over
how
to me and
cool
want me to
dogs.
pet her, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, Ruby.
It's such a magical thing. I
Yeah.
was talking to one of her dads about it. I was like, "She let me rub her belly today. Like she wanted it. Like she wanted me to rub her belly, and it was great." And luckily, they're like, they get it. They're not like, "Okay, weirdo."
Yeah, they're like, cool.
Yeah, they've had to learn to adapt because
Yeah,
their
they're really
last
good.
dog, I guess, was like a companion dog, went everywhere. They carried her everywhere, wore clothing, and now they have like the complete opposite. So there was a little bit of adjustment period, but they were so committed and they really appreciated who she was, which is all you can ask for, you know? Or, one of our first consults, I said, if this is not going to work for your lifestyle or environment, that's okay. And there's no shame in rehoming because you don't want her to be stressed. But they just embraced it. Like, no, we want to learn about her and we want to give her the best life we can. And they are. So, she really lucked out. But these dogs aren't for everybody. They are very independent natures.
One
So
of
it's each have to do your research.
one of my favorite things is when it was Ruby's got I believe it was her gotcha day. They had had her
Oh,
for a year and they sent you those photos and it was like the first day she came home versus on her gotcha day. And the first day she came home, it was a photo and like one of her dads was like sitting on the couch and Ruby was just kind of off to the side on the floor and she had a couple toys by her that they had gotten for her and she was just kind of like doing her thing. And then the gotcha day,
okay.
it was like the same exact photo. Her dad was on the couch, but then Ruby was sitting on the couch with her dad. And she had about like 20 times as many toys on the floor. And
Yeah.
it was just so
Yeah.
cute to see like the
Yeah.
development of their relationship because they do just like let her be her and like clearly she loves them and like in her own way and stuff. It's cool. She's a
And her
cool
favorite
dog.
things to do, looping back to your enrichment thing, those are all of her favorite things to do. She loves to shred, she loves to dig, she likes to just be outside and just be in
Hmm.
nature. It's interesting, like a lot of the natural dogs do. So, yeah,
Yeah.
they're very cool. I like them.
Natural dogs are very cool. I I Huskies are one of my favorite dog breeds. I don't know if I would ever own a husky. And I remember I saw this really funny comment because you know how there are always those like compilations of like huskies being huskies and just like screaming and being crazy and everything. And like the top comment on the video was, I love when other people have huskies.
No, you kind of get your husky hit, but don't have to deal with
Yeah.
the.
I'm like, that's so true. That's so funny because I love huskies, but I don't know if I could handle it because they're a lot of work. But uh, yeah, natural dogs, they're cool,
They
They
are
are really
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
and that's that.
Are we ready to move on to guardians, guardian dogs?
Think so.
I'm ready.
Cool group.
Guardians
Cool,
are
cool, 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 cool.
super
Cool.
cool, and I feel like guardians like you do with huskies. I would love to have a Pyrenees. I would love to have a Bernese Mountain Dog. But while I am living in Arizona, it's not going to happen because they also have those really thick coats that are meant for them to live outside comfortable. Hello, cat.
Mima.
Sorry. We're having a moment over
Also,
here.
this cat butt is right there.
Mima.
Um, so yeah, I won't have one, but one day, hopefully, when I'm out in the countryside in England and we have our farm, I would love to add a guardian. And I think that a guardian would get along well with Jinx. So they could
She's
kind of
part
like,
guardian, isn't she? A little bit.
she doesn't have any guardian in her, but I swear there
She
is
acts like
something in
one.
her favorite thing to do is just lay out in the yard. She patrols the perimeter, which isn't always hurting dog, but is very guardian. And she just loves to lay in the middle of the yard all morning and at dusk, which are exactly when the guardians are most active because that's when
Mhm.
the predators are out. It's crazy. She just likes to observe.
Yeah.
So, and she can be very hard-headed. Anywho, so a history of the guardian breeds. They are recognized as coming into being about 1100 BC, but there were markings in some Egyptian monuments dated back as 3000 BCs of mastiff type dogs. So mastiffs are also
Mm.
part of the guardian. So potentially they've been around much longer, at least the mastiff breeds. They were bred to protect livestock, people, property, basically protection of resources. And sadly, for a while, because of their immense size and strength, they were used in gladiator times for blood sports, often against people. They do have that decreased ritualized aggression. We talked about that with bulldogs and terriers because they were used for those type of activities. They had to just go in there and use their strength and power, and they used to fight other dogs, fight other species of animals, because apparently that was quite entertaining to see this large dog try to take down a bear or a lion. And then it gravitated to people. Um, Kind of gross history, but also important to know that because if you're going to take one of these dogs into your house, there is a genetic component to that, to have that aggression. They are often called gentle giants, and they can be extremely gentle and social with their circle, their family. But if you're a new person coming into the family or any person walking through the door after um, without knocking and going through the process of being vetted by this dog, they may not be so friendly and social because they were bred to protect.
Mhm.
Some of the breeds that are in the Guardian group are the Akbash, the Anatolian Shepherd,
I
and
love those
Bernese Mountain
guys.
Dog. Oh my gosh, they are the coolest. They're just
They're
gorgeous
so
dogs.
cool. I follow like I think like two or three accounts on social media of just like working Anatolian shepherds, and it'll be like people's kind of like
Mm.
outdoor security cameras just showing them like at night hear a coyote in the distance, and like it's so cool.
That's
It's
really
it's
cool.
very cool.
Shout out, I think
Very special
Raven
animals.
Tree Ranch and Crab Orchard Ranch or something like that. I think those are the two I follow.
Raven Tree Ranch I follow, and that's really fun to watch. And they've got border collies too. And when you see the border collies
Is that
out
the one that
there
has
with
the
the
cat as well?
yeah, who's
Yeah.
out there patrolling with the Anatolian shepherds,
Yeah.
and they let her go out there because they know that the shepherds will keep anything
Yeah, and they're
dangerous.
so tuned into each other. It's super cool. Like the cat, it's like this little black cat who will like run off and then it'll come back and you'll see her like brush up against the leg of one of the Anatolian shepherds and then the Anatolian shepherd will just like run off wherever the cat came from. It's so cool. Or I saw this one video, sorry, I'm just completely interrupting. But I saw
That's
this
fine.
one
No, I
video
like it.
of the two or three Anatolian shepherds heard a noise and they were like beforehand like they were hanging out and the cat was there. The cat was kind of like rubbing up against one of the dogs and then they heard a noise, must have been like a coyote or something. And so the dogs like charged and barked and then the cat like ran and hid under a bush. And so the dogs went off and barked and then one of the dogs circled back and made sure the cat was there under the bush and then went back to patrol with the other dogs. It was
That's
really
so
cool.
cool.
That's really cool. That they're really an amazing group of dogs and how they
Yeah.
were bred to have that protection quality, but not the predation
Mm-hmm.
quality. Like they love the animals that they protect. And I like watching the videos where you've got the big Pyrenees or Bernese and they're out there with all the lambs and the lambs are jumping on them and the baby goats and the
Yeah.
ducklings and stuff. And it's amazing. And they often just live outside with the animals that they're protecting. That's not cruel. That's where they want to be because that's
Yeah.
they're doing their job and fulfilling their purpose. Um, so yeah, the Borbal, the Bull Mastiff, the Cane Corso,
I never
the
think
Dogo
about Cane Corso
Bordeaux.
as a guardian.
I
I
And
always
have
I
to
know
forget.
it
remind
is,
myself
but
that
I
too.
know it
Yeah.
is, but I always just associate them with the bully breeds, I feel like.
Me too.
I know. There's probably
Mixture,
some
yeah.
a dash of something that created it, yeah. The Fila Brasileiro, the Great Dane, Great Pyrenees, the Greater Swiss Mountain Dog, those are gorgeous too.
Mm-hmm.
The Kangal Leonberger, the Commandor Couvaz, the Maremma Sheepdog, which are incredible too. Neapolitan Mastiff, the Newfoundland, the Spanish Mastiff, Saint Bernards, the Tibetan Mastiff, and of course, mixes of any of those breeds. So let's see, I've got my little notes here. They are very gentle and social with their social group, but again, just think about what they were bred for and how that might show up in your home. So when you have people come over, they may not necessarily be friendly sometimes. And there's, of course, a spectrum. Sometimes they're going to be aggressive with people they don't know. And then you've got the other end of the spectrum where they come out, assess that it's not a threat, and then they go back in and they just lay down. They wait for things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Or they go
Um,
between your legs like Leia.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Or
Leia.
like Gunner.
I'm gonna
Gunner would
be
do that
right
as
here.
well.
Gunner, yeah.
That's
When she
true. I
first
know
met
it's
Stefanie,
kind of
she was, like, barking at him, and then, like, after a while, she was like, "Okay," and then, like, went in between his legs and was just like, "Hello." I was like, "What are we doing?"
I
So
know.
weird.
I know. They're funny. They're funny dogs. They were originally selected against predation because, like we were saying, it wouldn't be very conducive to be guarding your lambs and then decide you were going to go kill all of them. But then, unfortunately, certain lines were bred with selection for human aggression because they would take them into uncharted territory. And these dogs that were very large and powerful, um, trained to be aggressive toward humans, would be used to clear out the land and kill all the natives that were on the land. And
I did not know that.
not not so fun fact, they would actually encourage this aggression by when they would kill a native person, they would other humans would dismember the human person, feed it to the dog, no other food, so they developed a taste for it. That's what we're having to hunt down for food. It was one of those terrible pieces of history,
I did not know
but
this.
it's horrible. An
Was
unfun
there
fact.
a specific breed of the dog that did this?
The
Or just in
Mastiff
general,
line,
the Mastiff line?
the Mastiff line were used for
That
that.
is insane.
So the
Wow, people
Guardians
really
kind of
just know how
branched
to
off
ruin
into what's that? I'm sorry.
sorry. People just
No,
really know how to ruin things.
Yeah,
That's
I know, right? Humans are really good at that.
that's
Um,
insane.
Guardians kind of branched off into livestock guardians and then more like guardians. So again, that's very rare that these dogs demonstrate that kind of aggression now.
But
Yet
it did
there is
happen, yeah.
some, what is that called? There is some ancestral ethogram that's got aggression toward humans in there. So it's just, you want to be careful and not set your dog up to fail. I did hear of a case. There's actually a dog that Kim Brophy worked with. It was, I don't believe, I think it was a Mastiff. It was a Mastiff, had been with the family for 3 years, ever since it was a puppy. And they had another dog, and that dog, something happened to it, and it was like doing that the distress whine, like,
Mm. Hmm.
and it triggered the Mastiff dog, was kind of nipping at the dog, but the dad went over to break up the fight and kind of slapped the Mastiff on the butt to tell him to knock it off. And
Yeah.
the Mastiff turned around, broke his wrist,
Oh,
then broke the elbow, and then ripped his arm entirely off. Literally ripped the arm off
I think I
the man.
remember her talking about this in the class or something.
Extremely rare, but
But still.
interesting that given certain triggers, it's like that impulse way, way down
Yeah, it's
deep
like
in
it
him.
just
Yeah.
like unlocks something in their brain or something.
Yeah, and that does happen with different breeds. You've got this massive, powerful dog who at one time was used for killing humans. So I'm not saying this for people to be afraid of these dogs, but you've got to respect
Yeah, you
and
have to
really understand
know.
what you're getting.
Yeah.
And you've got to help set them up for success. You've got to learn what their triggers are, um, learn
And probably if he were to try and
learn what their
de-escalate that situation in a different way, it wouldn't have gone down like that. Like if he had
Mhm.
problem
done something different than going over and slapping the dog on the butt. So it's just like knowing the correct way to
of intervention.
de-escalate.
Yeah,
Like if
how
the
you
dog is
manage
in an
the
aroused
environment.
state, knowing the correct way to de-escalate that to protect everyone involved, like that, I feel like that's important as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like meeting aggression with aggression, you're gonna get aggression back.
Yeah, like that's like
Oh,
Jinx as
yeah.
well, even though like Jinx like swears she has some guardian in her. Like if she I remember one time she was in the yard and she had found a baby bird that had fallen out of the nest and she was trying to get behind it at the bush and I went out there, she wasn't listening. And so I was a bit harsh with her. I was like, Jinx, come inside, get away from the bird. And she whipped around and she tried to bite me. And so I was like, oh, okay, try something different. So I had to go get some treats and I was like, Jinky, let's go inside. It's so funny. And then she was fine. But like just knowing that like if you try to be rough with her she'll bite you but like if you're just like chill about it and like go about it in more of a nonchalant way then she's like all right so just like knowing that like saves your skin.
Absolutely. And those behaviors are not training issues. You can't
Hmm.
really train that out of him. It's so instinctual. And that's one of the things that I love about the whole family dog mediation community is this is just a reality that we can't be afraid to talk about with people who are taking these dogs, whether you're adopting or breeding or whatever. It's really important. That doesn't mean they can't make good family pets, but again, learning about all of this stuff, what went into them, what they were bred for, what characteristics they have, their triggers, what enrichment is for them. You can help set them up for success and just keep them out of trouble. Like we talked about with the bulldogs. You don't have to be afraid that your pit bull back in the day was used to kill other dogs. Okay, so they may not like dogs, but you don't get put them in situations that are going to get them in trouble.
Yeah.
Same thing with these guys. You just have to do your research and learn about dog behavior, learn about their body language. It's amazing to me that people go get dogs like this or your natural dogs um, without learning the first thing about them because you can really get yourselves in a pickle versus if you take a pug home and you don't know much about it, probably going to be okay, make some mistakes.
Well,
But these are serious.
I feel like a lot of times people misjudge guardian breeds because they can be so laid back and chill because it is
Yeah.
that whole like conservation of energy thing. Like a lot of the times they
Yeah.
are just like very chill and laid back until they need to be alert and do their job and on edge and stuff. So I feel like people just associate guardian breeds with being very like calm and sweet and mellow, but they don't know that whole other side to them. Like, okay, but then what do they do when they are guarding? It's the
Yeah.
name, like, like that's just part of what they are.
I also noticed a lot of, well, maybe not a lot of, but in some cases, I feel like they oftentimes in shelters will label herding dogs as a lot of guardian breeds instead. And I don't know if that's just because they like whoever decided didn't realize what they actually were, but I feel like that's like a huge distinction that needs to be
Yeah.
like because
Yeah.
Sky when Sky got Pancake, he was labeled as a Burmese mountain dog. Sorry,
Really?
yeah, and
That's
I
awesome.
mean, you guys have seen him. He's
Yeah,
like
cattle dog.
he was like cattle dog pity mix something,
Yeah.
and
Totally.
definitely
Yeah.
like cattle dog for sure had like
Y-
the
Yeah,
healer.
not Bernese mountain dog.
Yeah, so I don't know if that is just like a common mistake with labeling
That's
them,
interesting.
but imagine like you thinking you're getting a guardian and then you're actually getting like
A
a
herding
herding
dog,
dog
yeah.
only mix.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell?
Um,
Yeah.
that's really interesting.
So yeah, super weird about that, but
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're very different than herding dogs too. Like these
mhm.
guys are pretty chill until they're not. Um, they are more active in the morning and in the evening, and they can be just couch potatoes all during the day.
Mhm.
unless somebody walks in the door. Um, I heard an anecdote too. It's interesting. Like even if the dog, the guardian, knows Uncle Bob, but Uncle Bob comes in one day and he's drunk and he's throwing his arms around. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" Even if you're in that social circle, if you act weird
Yeah.
or potentially threatening,
Or you're
that
wearing a
doesn't mean,
hat.
or you're wearing a hat. Like guardians are on the ball because that's what they're bred to do, assess any potential threat to what it's protecting and take action. They're very black and white for rules for people and other animals. They also are very thoughtful and independent. People will call them stubborn, but they are used to being out there by themselves and having to assess situations and decide what the right plan of action is to do. So I think Kim's got a couple of guardian breeds, and she's so funny when she talks about them because she said my herding dog would be like, okay, we're gonna do this and that and that and then this and then that, and I can attest to that having several herding dogs. But the guardian is like, huh, how would I approach this problem? And they really are thoughtful about it, and it's not that they're trying to be stubborn and slow, but they're just very they're very thoughtful about what they
Mhm.
do because they don't want to make mistakes. You can't. Let's see. For enrichment for these guys, outside time. Every guardian breed, guardian mix that we've had at the school, their favorite thing to do is to be outside, often in the sandbox. We had
Yeah.
Coco, the little
Oh
Pyrenees mix,
yeah.
Oh.
loved to be outside. Leia loves to be outside. We had Andy when we were at the
Mhm.
warehouse. She was
Mm-hmm.
adorable, loved to be outside. All of them.
Gunner.
They just, yeah, it's really important for them.
Fun.
They like to have a vantage point so they can just watch. Um, Group walks are really good for them because they feel like they're walking with their team. But you do have to be careful because I have learned and heard other anecdotes that if you walk the same walk every night with your guardian breed, they could start to see that as their boundary. So it's a good idea to take different walks at times because you're just reinforcing if you take the same block walk with your guardian, then you've just increased the area that they feel like they need to protect. So you might see more reactivity, um,
That makes sense.
more aggression. Yeah,
Makes
it's
a
really
lot of
interesting.
sense. Yeah.
It makes total sense if you think about it, but people often do that. They just have their little route that they walk.
Mhm.
But if you have a guardian, you can see some of those aggressive reactive behaviors because now oh, this is the area that I need to protect. Oh, this is the area. So mix up your walks a little bit. I think they're a great group to take to sniff spots because you could find a nice plot of land, let them run the perimeter, and then just plop in the middle and just observe and smell. That would be the most enjoyable thing, I think, for most of those guys. Let's see. They do like to do the puzzles. They're very, very smart, but also all the ones I can think of take their time. Like you're not gonna give them a towel game or a box game and just have them like blow through it like some of the herders do, some of the terriers do. They are gonna be a little more thoughtful in their approach.
I think
Uh,
they also take a lot of breaks too, though, like, working with Gunner,
yes.
especially, like, one-on-one, he would, like, work for a little bit, and then he's like, "I need a break for, like, 15 minutes," and
My
then
brain
he's
hurts.
like yeah, and then he was like, "Okay, I'm ready," like, I think that's really cool about them too, like, they conserve their energy really well, they're like, "Hold on a second."
Yeah, they like
You're
regulate
right.
themselves.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Leia does that too, and I think sometimes it's mistaken for lack of focus, but I think she just needs that reset and needs that outside time, which this is why Arizona is so difficult because in the summer, these guys just go mad because they can't be outside as much as they want to be.
Yeah.
Um, what else? What
Something
else?
it's not specifically about guardians, but I think well, it kind of is. But something because like obviously dogs they mark their territory. That's like a very dog thing. But I
Hmm.
never really put it together until I was watching one of like the Raven Tree Ranch videos the other day. It was one of the Anatolian shepherds going around the barn and like intentionally marking these spots so that like the coyotes would smell him and know that that is his territory and
Mm.
not to come onto his
Hmm.
territory. And I don't know why, but I've never thought about how like beneficial like marking can be, but that is so cool how like the guardian dogs specifically use it to show any like predators like this is my turf, like stay back. It's so cool.
I
Makes a
wonder,
lot of
I've
sense.
heard
Yeah.
it does make sense. And I wonder if guardian breeds mark more than some of the other
You
breeds. That
would
would be
think
an
so.
interesting thing. I mean, thinking of Gunner, Gunner was the biggest marker
Yeah,
we've had. And we always thought it's because he's like a, big guy, whatever. But he would just mark relentlessly. And that's the thing
yeah,
with taking them on the same walks is they'll mark a lot. And so if you just keep reinforcing every time you walk, they're like, yep, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. So at least if you're mixing up the walk, they're still going to mark a lot, but it's not just reinforcing, yep, this is my territory, this is my
yeah.
territory. So
I
yeah,
just thought
that's
that
really
was so
interesting.
interesting though, because like I've never really thought about it in that sense, like how beneficial it
The
can be
keep, yeah.
and the purpose, because that obviously like yeah, because the coyote's gonna smell that and be like, oh, this big dog lives here, and like it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool when
Or
you meet
or
guys.
other dogs, like I know sometimes like especially on farmland, like it's like an issue if like neighbor dogs come onto the farm, especially if they're like not farm dogs, neighbor dogs come on and attack the farm animals. So like in that case, like they're smelling the marking and stuff like that as well. Like anything, not just like coyotes or predators or whatever, but like anything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's amazing how specialized these dogs are. That's why I think it's so cool to learn about the breed groups, and why
Hmm.
wouldn't you want to know more about them to kind of expect what to expect?
Yeah.
I think it is cool too because, like, I feel like when I think of a dog marking like that, especially like a male, I'm like, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, they're trying to be alpha or like,
Yeah.
they're trying to, do this,
Or
but
it's like controlling or like, oh yeah, it's
yeah, it's
gross or
always
like
like a
come on, but
negative
like it's a
thing.
it's a purpose. Like
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. And I knew I didn't like think it was an alpha thing, but I never really sat down and was like, what is that for? Why are they doing that? So
yeah,
that's really
exactly.
interesting.
Yeah, I've known trainers who will only allow dogs to mark one time on their walk. They're just not allowed to do it. And I always thought that is it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm
It's so
not sure
weird.
what they're thinking or the purpose of that would be.
Yeah, it's not
If
hurting
anyone
anyone.
has any answers. It's what dogs do. I mean,
Yeah, they're
you
not trying
know,
to like control you by peeing on that bush. Like,
I don't think so. I don't think they think like that.
mm.
It's strange. I do have a couple fun facts. Fun fact, the Guardians were a predecessor group for scent hounds.
Were they?
So some of the mastiffs had a propensity for tracking, and so they were used to further develop into what we now have as the scent hounds, which I thought was amazing. I had never heard of that before,
That's
uh,
interesting.
which would explain why a lot of our guardian dogs also really enjoy nose work. I mean, I
Yeah,
think most dogs enjoy nose work, but some of them are really, really good at it. So it's kind of interesting.
that is interesting.
Um, Bernese Mountain Dogs originated in the Swiss Alps. They were bred for a calm and gentle temperament, as well as being just an all-purpose farm dog. They were often used to pull carts, taking cheese and other goods to the market, but they also protected livestock and they could also help drive cattle. So they could be
Hmm.
used in a number of different capacities.
They're a triple
Uh,
threat.
they are a triple threat. St. Bernards, they were also bred in Switzerland, mainly for mountain rescue. We always think of them as with the little barrel of whiskey around the neck. It's a myth. They never actually had those. We kind of added that in for marketing purposes.
Mm.
The modern day St. Bernards are bred larger, which sadly has led to a lot of health problems for the St. Bernard. And the Mastiffs are the largest, heaviest dogs known. The world record was Zorba, and she weighed 343 pounds. That's a
That's
lot of dogs.
terrifying.
You don't want to piss her
Zorba.
off. I
That's
know,
Where
isn't
was
that
she
crazy?
from? Where is she from? Did you say that? Sorry.
I don't know where she was. No, I don't know what city she lived in, or
That's so
sounds like she'd be
cool.
Greek.
Zorba.
Isn't
That's
that
cool.
crazy? That's a giant dog.
That's a
Um,
that's wild.
it was a
but
male.
they're just cool.
Oh,
Oh, did you look it up?
Yeah.
Tell us more
Ikama
about Zorba.
Zorba of La Susa, or Zorba, was a male Old English Mastiff who was recognized by the largest and heaviest dog in the world. Passed away in 1992. And it doesn't say where he lived.
hmm.
The secret, trying to keep his personal information personal.
Space. He lived in
La,
space.
is
That's
La
crazy.
Susa a place? Spain, potentially? Yeah, Spain.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
cool.
no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Not Spain.
Liar.
La
What
Susa
a roller
can
coaster.
refer to Spain, but La Susa was also just a nickname for Zorba. It wasn't the place that he came from.
Because he was big as Spain.
Yeah,
He's
maybe.
like a
We're just drawing conclusions.
filling
That's
in
cool.
holes. It's crazy. I had a friend who had a Newfoundland Link, as in missing Link, and her cousins would jump into the pool and Link would run around and fish them out of the pool. And they thought that was the funnest game. So then her cousins would like jump into the pool and like, ah, Link, and Link would run over and pull him out of the pool. It was like a very fun game. It was really
The
cute.
lifeguard. That's so
Lifeguard,
cute.
protecting the littles.
That's funny.
Yeah, so they're cool. I hope to have one day. I think they'd be a really fascinating dog to observe and learn from and um, learn how to chill. They can be so stoic and reserved. They're pretty low arousal, not really dramatic dogs until they need to go take care of business, but they're
Yeah,
really interesting.
guardian dogs are cool. They're like some of my favorite dogs to just watch like in their element, like doing their jobs because it's so cool how they just do it independently. Like they don't need anyone to tell them what to do. They don't need someone to say like, "Oh, go get that coyote." Like they're just wired
Yeah.
and locked in to do that. Like that's their job and they're really freaking good at it. It's really cool.
Yeah. Before I forget, I will read off Kim's handy dandy So You Fell in Love with a Guardian. You'll fall in love with a guardian because he's cool, level-headed and mellow, reserved and chivalrous. He has a low maintenance demeanor. They're tolerant, they're gracious and gentle, and is patient with other human and animals, social members. Protective, he will surely make you feel safer home or walking down the street. You might find a guardian hard to live with because he's opinionated. Discerning and independent of mind, a guardian may be resistant to your instructions. Suspicious, he can be unwelcoming to those he perceives as threats to the home and or loved ones. Big, his size and strength may feel a bit impractical to manage at times. You might find yourself seeking professional help for aggression toward unfamiliar people or animals, especially near their home or your property, wandering off, not coming when called, protectiveness of owners and other pets, territorial barking, difficulty in training and resistance to follow directions. The relationship survival key is as you enjoy the pleasantries of living with a more laid back dog, don't forget his genetic propensity for action when it comes to protecting home and family. Though he can thrive in any number of environments, you must always manage him in order to stay one step ahead and prevent aggression toward intruders. Help him learn through your consistent planning and action that everything is cool and under control at all times, both inside and outside your home. And he is a dog made to do a whole lot of nothing until the moment he decides to do a whole lot of something. Keep it simple and well controlled, and you can enjoy a very laid back, loving guy.
Cool.
So there's your guardian kids.
A very cool breed group. Natural dogs and guardians. Two of I
Yeah.
think the most interesting. I hate to say that because I think all of them are so interesting, but I just think they're so unique. Guardians and natural dogs are so unique.
Mhm.
They are. It's crazy the selective breeding involved in getting them to do something so specialized for
Yeah.
some of these guys. And then you got the opposite in the world dogs who are all really good at what they were used for without excessive breeding. It's crazy.
Natural dogs.
Natural dogs, sorry. Sorry, sorry.
We always get those confused.
I know.
Right.
They are similar in a way, just like with the lack of breeding and stuff. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us on What Dogs Really Want. If you like this episode, hit that follow button, leave a review or a comment, and share with someone whose dog might be trying to tell them something. Next week, we will be going over enrichment. We will be going over what exactly we do at the academy, explaining how enrichment can be more than just a Kong or food source, and how we're different in the aspect of cooperative enrichment, doing stuff with them together, and not just keeping them busy. If you have a myth you want busted or behavior you are curious about, you can drop us a DM or a voice memo and we'll try to cover it in the future episode. Until next time, stay kind and curious and do fun stuff with your dog.
Yay.
Thank you. Bye.